Hello, my name is Amber J, and this is the Can't Make That Chit Up podcast to talk about being a woman, a mother, and a healer of many modalities that has suffered from or grown from ADHD and PCOS, and just all the adversities that come with that. So first part of the show will cover the different elements of what the title is. So can't make this shit up. I can't is literally where I am. So when I start off the show, I will get into a scenario or case that kind of opens up about just situations that only I can experience, or whoever as I have maybe in the future as a guest, really talk about the things that they've been through. And so with that being said, is where we are right now. The shit is the knowledge. It's the process. The word shit means knowledge in Sanskrit. And so I really want to bring forward the importance of how or what you learned from wherever you are at this current state. Up is anything, the destination or announcements that may come up throughout the show, throughout the cast, throughout the podcast. And every episode will have the I can't part, and every part of my episode will have a shit, and then every part will also have the up, because it's so important to know how we may see things differently and may even be able to allow life to happen. So without further ado, I'm gonna start with my first scenario, my first story, and what started this whole podcast. Executed it in a very fast paced. I went out with a close friend of mine. While we were out on the town, there were some gentlemen, 4 seats, but they were sitting in the middle too. And so we asked, could we sit? If they just scoot down to, we could sit in the first 2 seats. They did. They moved down. And then there was another gentleman that came and stood right in between me and my friend and said, I was sitting here. And we looked at the 2 guys because we knew in that moment, like, they didn't care about the guy that was sitting with them because he wasn't with them. And because of that, it kind of put us in a little pickle. My close friend and this gentleman got to talking, so they kind of left me in a space where I wasn't talking to anybody, and I was okay with that because honestly I really had no intention of being out. I just wanted to hang out with my homegirl, so I was happy that she got entertained by someone. And so in the midst of her talking to him, a gentleman pulls up. Another gentleman walks into the bar, and he comes up to the bar, and he's just happy. He just has a big smile on his face. He's really outgoing. And we just talk about a lot of things, and we were like meshing and getting along and talking about, future. And it was just very, very an impulsive, fast connection kind of conversation. But my intuition was still kind of reserved because I wasn't sure if he was following along and agreeing with everything that I was saying, or if he was like really already having the same thoughts or the same things that I was doing. So by the end of the night, we're all getting ready to go home. Everybody's going back to their cars. And he was like, hey, I'm going out on my jet ski tomorrow. I have a jet ski business. Would you mind coming with me on the jet skis? And I said, sure. Why not? I'm a very adventurous woman. And I'm also very impulsive. So spontaneity, impulsivity, all these things, anything that's got to be about starting the initiation, that's me. Following day, we met at the lake where jet ski was, and so Immediately I noticed that his jet ski was an older jet ski. Wasn't brand new, wasn't white, it was cream. It was just a different, it was older. And I also noticed he only brought one jet ski. And so I was like, so you don't have two, and that's okay. And then the second thing was, so I locked my keys in his car. My phone was in my car. I locked my keys in his car. And then I got on the jet ski with him. And the first thing I noticed was that he let me drive from the beginning. He like, I'm let her drive. And we drove around for about 20-30 minutes, really enjoying ourselves, like really enjoying the water, enjoying the environment, really seeing how everything was working out. I noticed there was a beeping noise on the jet ski. I mean, get back to the shore. He was like, oh, it just needs some oil, so we'll go back to the shore. And I said, okay, let's get back to the shore. So we get back to the shore. I go to the car, I go to his car, get my keys, and go back and check my phone, text a friend, like his information, just because I felt safe, but I also wanted someone to know who I was with. So as I text a friend the information, got back on the jet ski, and this time I brought my phone. So I put my phone inside the compartment, and this time he drove. And he was really enjoying himself. He was driving really good. He felt safe. You know, he wanted to be in control. But I noticed he didn't go the distance I went. I covered, like, out of a very large lake, I covered 80%. So let's say, like, there was, like, this little cove. It was really cute. It was a really nice, cute cove. And he wanted to relax in the cove and be in the cove. And I was just like, I know we're on a date, but I'm also not in a place where I can be intimate with you. I might be impulsive and even spontaneous, but the goal of this date was not to be intimate. It was to kind of get to know one another, have some fun, and then go home. While we're in this little cove, and he's like, look at the sky and all that. I'm like, oh yeah, all that's beautiful, but I came here to do tricks. I came here to have fun on the water. And he was like, okay. And so the first thing I noticed was that he was like, okay, well, you can drive now. And if you know anything about driving a jet ski, when you switch seats on a jet ski, the first thing you do is you lean to the side. You don't just get up and stand up. So he stood up immediately, and I was like, okay. And I also noticed that he didn't have the key on his wristband. He had the key on the handle. And I told him, never do that. That's like safety 101. And both of us had on life jackets, but he didn't keep the wristband on to the key. And so when he stood up, I leaned to the opposite side, scoot forward, and then of course he got in the back again. It's a really big jet ski, so it was okay. And so we went riding again, and I noticed he was feeling himself and he was enjoying himself. He was leaning back, standing up, and all these things. And I told him, I said, keep doing all that fun stuff behind me. I'm gonna flip you. And he was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And I was like, whatever. You have a jet ski. You should know, like, part of the fun is to throw people off, put them back on. You know, it's a fun thing to do. He did it again. He stood up. He was holding onto my life jacket. It was a very weird way. Like, he was holding with his arms through the back of my life jacket like this. And I was just like, this is so weird for someone to behave this way, knowing that they have, just knowing the rules of having a jet ski. And so after that second time, and after him playing and doing like little, like just things in the back, I went real fast, and I like hit it, I braked, and I turned real quick so we could flip. So I could flip him. And when we flipped, when I hit it to flip to throw him off, he still held on to my life jacket. So I went in the water with him, but I was still holding on to the handles. So we topple over together, we come back up. I come out the water to find him still holding on to my life jacket. And I'm telling you this because I also notice in this moment, I'm having to tell him to put his hands onto the jet ski because he's absolutely terrified of water. He's terrified of water. Not only is he terrified of water, but he's having a full-blown panic attack. And so when I realized in that moment that I'm gonna have to figure this out. So we had to flip the jet ski back over, and I'm literally trying to, hey, come back to yourself. Hey, I need you to come back in this moment because we got to get through this. Now, he was taking directions, but because he was having a panic attack, he was also crying and saying, this is a very bad day. This is very bad. Then he started saying things that didn't belong to him, like the car he drove in that he came in didn't belong to him. And it was just a lot of random things that were going on in like a 2-minute window. And so finally, after him calming down enough for us to start flipping over the jet ski, he's still panicking. And he puts his foot on the part where his keys were, my keys are in his car, and both of our phones are. And into the water went my cell phone and his keys. So I knew in that moment, through his panic and his energy, it just wasn't gonna happen. I got him on top of the jet ski that was still floating, because you know, after so long, jet skis take on water, and I have to swim. I swim about a football field with a life jacket on, just to go to the last boat that I saw pull up to the dock. And so while I was in the middle of my swim, it started thundering. I called on God in that moment. And then I started thinking about like the worst things. And I was like, we're not doing that, Amber. We're going to keep our minds focused and we're going to keep going. If we've already called on God, we're already protected. And as soon as I like snapped my mind back in, here comes a boat. This guy's like, where did you come from? Where were you? And I broke down the scenario. I was like, so I'm on a date with a guy that told me he owns a jet ski company. And he's afraid of water. He has a phobia of water. And he was like, so we're not going on date number 2, right? And I was like, no, Dad. And I laughed. And we got on the boat. And long story short, we got back to land. We got the jet ski back to land. And we got help. And it was really great. However, it was in the middle of it was like at the end of it, I literally, as I was telling friends about it the very next day, I was like, I have some of the most amazing stories. And because of the details that I give, you know, I can't make it up. Like I can't make it up. Like this is a story only I will have to experience to share with you how to get through things, or what was the up. First things first, never feel guilty about who you are. I know I'm spontaneous. I also know I can be impulsive. I also know that in crisis moments, I can become very, very focused. Something about crisis, I just get focused. So that's not a problem. Another thing that I noticed about myself is in the middle of all of this, I was so grateful to know that I have given my son swim lessons. When we got back to the land and me and him had to just take care of some other business to get out, that's when he shared that he witnessed 3 of his friends drown when he was a kid. And I'm assuming that he never handled it. Because if you would have handled it, the first thing you would have said to me when we got back would be that story versus you telling me you know how to swim. You don't. If you knew how to swim in this moment, you would also know to tap in to whatever source that brings you back. Number 3, I know myself. I know myself. I knew myself in that moment, in that time, and I know myself enough to share with you. For the up. be aware of yourself in any circumstance or any story or any experience, and pay attention to how you move. And always remember that it is easier to pretend, and it's harder to be yourself in situations that you have to really show up. But whatever shows up during that time, that's up to you. Take your time with yourself, understand yourself, and love yourself for exactly where you are. We're in the month of June. I will meet you every Monday with a story, with the shit, and how it has impacted me to pursue my next destination, the up. So I can't make up that story about being on that jet ski. I can't make up anything that is a false service. It's a true service. It's a service to be helping you and helping me when we're learning the shit, and that's the knowledge. So the knowledge that I have for you today in that experience is to always try your best to learn yourself to not put others in harm's way. If you know that you are allergic to shellfish, put someone on game, or do not invite people to a seafood boil. Doesn't make sense for you to host a seafood boil and you're allergic to shrimp. Simply because you're putting not only yourself in danger, but you're putting someone else in danger. Know yourself. Care about yourself. And another thing, be mindful of how you share the experience. In this exact opportunity, this could have gone a different way. I noticed immediately after I shared this story with multiple friends and multiple people, they could have all came to one source. They could have came to this little podcast and listened to this story. And they could have kept their opinions to themselves. Because or they could have typed them in the comments. So I would prefer that. I would prefer that over everything, and I prefer that with you. So let's be more active in the up. Be more proactive about how you see yourself and know yourself and show up for yourself. Be proactive in inviting people places and knowing your partake in that place. Know your safety and rules and boundaries. And then also be mindful of how you utilize the information that you receive, the knowledge, the shit. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed episode 1. Episode 2 will be up next Monday. These will be coming every week. And let's just keep it all up. Also, another couple announcements. June 29th at True Fusion, I will be hosting a 2-hour aerial yoga workshop. Please see me there. Also, people that want to get in the aerial hammock, I am going on tour in July 10th through July 17th. Check your Eventbrite, check your cities if you live in the SWAC. Yes, that's Southwest United States. I'm coming and I'm touching a room, and we shall have fun. I send you in love, I send you in light, and I send you in yourself. Trust God, trust the process. Peace.